Welcome to the Auto Fixation Podcast, a loud pedal production with your host Mark Farouk and Matt Powers.
Oh, I had it on mute.
You were muted.
All right. That's
Jesus.
Great. We'll start here.
Auspicious beginning.
Welcome to the Auto Fixation Podcast. You're catching us as we're having started off some great audio difficulties. We've had a struggle getting our intro to work out as we record live, so I'll go in later and add it in. Matt, how's it going?
Good, Mark. How are you? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, it's what a week.
I know. We're actually a little delayed. We were hoping to get another episode out last week, but we're both busy with our full-time jobs.
That's right. So for those of you hanging on to our every word, you had to wait a week.
Exactly.
Sorry about that. But it's going to be well worth the wait.
Did you get some angry emails being like, where's the next episode?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right?
People texting me,
I
need more content. More content. Now I just have to scroll TikTok.
Yeah, right.
Which, man, what a rabbit hole that is to go into.
No kidding.
So we got a few things to talk about today, and we thought we should kind of skewer ourselves to start things off.
Absolutely. So we want to go through, we've been talking about doing this for a while. We wanted to go through our previous cars and what we've bought. Like, I was going to call it a car collection, but I don't think this is a collection. This is like...
It's a collection of something.
Yeah. These are all the cars that we bought in the past. So I don't know, Mark. I think we should start with yours. I think...
Start with me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so what was your first car?
So my first real car, 1992 Fox Body Mustang 5.0.
With a salvage title.
With a salvage title. The only way it should be. That's a real American muscle car.
Yeah.
If you don't have a salvage title, it doesn't count. It was a great car.
What year did you buy that?
I got it late, I think 93.
Okay, so it was pretty new.
It was pretty new. I don't remember all the financing details of that transaction, but given it was a salvage title, it was pretty cheap. But you know what? I actually don't know what was wrong with it. The engine ran great, gearbox great. It was a manual transmission.
Nice.
It was beautiful. Had the worst traction control system known to man. I didn't realize it at the time. I thought that's just normal for the engine to completely cut out for traction control. That was the limits of technology.
That was the way they did it. They just had the engines basically shut down.
If you were coming out of a corner and put the throttle down too much, it would just hesitate and almost come to a complete stop. So safety first.
It's funny, when I saw this in your list, I sort of had in mind what they look like now. So there would be oxidized paint with clear coat flecking off or something. But it was probably, if you only bought a year old or something, it was probably in pretty good shape.
It was in pretty good shape. I mean, I think from whatever caused the accident, there was some respray, but it was blue with gray striping. Held up pretty well.
Nice.
But I didn't know a whole lot about car maintenance at the time, I have to admit. I was not the automotive expert journalist that you find me now. We'll just go with that.
So how long did you drive that for?
I had that car for, I think, until 95 and blew the engine.
Okay, yes, you do.
As you do. Oil plug dropped out. No oil light came on. And but it's a great warning that doesn't happen when a piston flies out the side of the block. That'll always warn you.
So wait, hold on. Are you saying there was a warning light that said there was no oil, or you're saying that no light came on?
No light came on
to warn you about
no warning. There was kind of a weird smell. Like, what is that?
Oh shit!
Because you don't drive that car at low RPMs.
No,
it's always near the red line, which could have been a problem.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Oh, that's too funny.
Longevity was not my concern at that moment. And then I moved on. So I did without a car for quite a while. I was carless, did the car thing. I was in college. I used public transportation, hence why I would never use it ever again. I did that for several years, going to college, working, sometimes 3 jobs at the same time. I'll never go back. And so as soon as I got a real job, I went out and got a brand new 2002 Volkswagen GTI.
That's a cool car.
Manual transmission. Yeah. The great, the cloth interior with the that stitching that they have. What a great
I
car.
think those are like the Mark IVs, they call those.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
say
yeah.
there's a little bit of the boxier body style.
It's a great car. So fun, practical,
Yep.
like hatchback. Get your groceries, go to Home Depot, get some small things, whatever you need to do, road trips.
Totally.
Fun car to drive.
Totally.
Yeah, really love that car. And transition from that car once I had my first child is a little small, it's 2-door. So a little small getting a car seat back there. We did it for a few months and then moved up to 2006 Audi A3 hatchback.
Nice.
That was the first. It wasn't, I think 2005 was the first year that Audi introduced the A3 hatchback.
Okay.
And then I'd seen one. I was like, oh, that's really great. And it was built. So one thing I want to point out about the GTI, that version, the 1.8 turbo engine, one of the greatest engines ever built. The Audi A3 was a 2-liter turbo, and Audi basically built off the 1.8
Oh, cool. Okay.
and created. I mean, if you look at my other cars that I'll go through shortly, the 2-liter turbo has just been around for a long time.
Yep.
I don't want to say bulletproof because people complain about oil consumption on some of them, but I never had any problems. Great car, adequate, more than enough power, fun. So the hatchback,
Those two doors or 4 doors?
That was a 4-door.
4-door.
That was a great car.
And the GTI is 2-door, 4-door?
The GTI was 2, but I had a GTI later that was 4.
Okay.
So when I got my 2020, so between the A3, the next I upgraded to a 2010 A4.
Yeah.
That was a stupid car to get because it was front wheel drive. What was I thinking? What was I doing? I didn't save that much money doing that. That was a bad decision. It was silver though, so silver Audi.
Okay.
Kind of makes sense.
All right.
Black interior. It was nice. But front wheel drive, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
And then
you
I
gotta go
went
with
back.
Quattro. If you're buying an Audi, you
Yeah,
really should go
exactly.
Quattro.
I learned my lesson later. Then I went to the 2012 GTI. Another great car, 4 doors, practical, fun. They'd upgraded a lot of things over the years. But then after that, went to a 2014 A4. Then the real exciting after that, a 2016 A4. The excitement continues.
That was that white one, right? Or no, was that the
That was
blue one?
blue.
Because you had the white.
Before
the
that, I had a
2014 was
white
the white one.
Yeah.
Then the blue one.
Ah, you remember?
I remember.
Very good. And then I finally graduated to the S class of Audi.
Yeah, nice.
The SQ5.
Yes.
And then now I have the SQ7.
Yeah.
So I'm a horror for Volkswagen Audi Group.
I can see that.
I say?
I can see that. Yeah, you just that first car, that Ford. That's the only thing in your
that's the
history.
only time I deviated.
Exactly.
I still have a soft spot for those cars. If I see a Fox body on the road or in a parking lot, I do a double take.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Memories. Now, you have photos of the cars. That you had, and some of these are really funny.
Well, I'm missing my first car. I couldn't find a picture of that. My first car, my parents gave to me. It was their car. It was a 1989 Volvo 240 DL wagon.
I think they're built out of Swedish tank parts
Exactly. So
from the wars they never fought.
that car was bulletproof. It was a manual, which was cool because like none of my friends had a manual car, so they all learned how to drive a stick on that car.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know exactly what burning clutch smells like. That car got the shit kicked out of it. And actually, it was funny. A good friend of mine had pretty much the same car, and we could literally like crash into each other at stop signs. Like at first it started just a couple miles an hour. It's like a funny little like love tap. And then at one point he hit me like 20 miles an hour. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe it was like 10, but like it felt fast. And there's like no damage to the cars, or at least anything that we could see. So, I mean, they were tanks. They were great cars. I mean,
I love those. I love those cars. That car for that time, what year? So, an 89?
It was an 89.
So, what year did you have it? Early 90s?
Yeah, that's right. So, when I first got my license in 96, 98. Sorry, 98.
Yeah, so I saw several of these in my high school parking lot. This was the primary hand-me-down car of parents to kids, and that was what you did. It was you did whatever they could take it.
That's exactly right. It was a safe car by those standards. I mean, by today's standards,
we'll never have cars that tough again.
No, exactly. And so my friend who had his, it was the same color. It was basically the same car. They had bought it. His parents had bought it before they gave it to him from some, I don't know, probably, no offense, a meth head, like down in Vallejo.
Who traded for a carton of cigarettes?
Yeah, well, he would take the front end of a car that had been rear-ended, and he'd take the rear end of a car that had been a head-on collision, and he'd cut it in half and weld it together. And
that's definitely the result of math.
Exactly.
Only math could give someone that idea. That's awesome.
Not only was it super durable, but it had even been chopped in half and was still durable. So, but then I graduated. I don't know. I think I started working, and I was able to convince my parents to let me trade that one in, and I got a
traded in.
Sold.
Okay, sorry. I was wondering what dealer took that.
No. So I got a 1994 BMW 325 IS coupe, and that was awesome.
Now this giant scratches I see in the photos and the giant door damage. Did you receive it in that condition? Or is this what you did to it?
So I bought this, I think probably in 1999 or something. So I was only 5 years old. It was great, and I babied it. It was perfect. And then I went away to college in 2000. And I don't know if it was my fault or if it was my brother who was driving it, but the rear tires were bald, and it's a rear-wheel drive car.
Racing slicks.
Yeah, right. It's inadvertent racing slicks. So getting on the freeway, it got on the gas, and it got completely sideways, crossed 2 lanes of traffic, and just got T-boned by a truck. So I think insurance cut me he was fine. Insurance cut me a $7,000 check, which, I mean, then these days, that was a lot of money then. And I was very appreciative, but these days I'd love to have that car. That'd be a fantastic car.
Nice. But your current black hole of investment is a 2011 S4, which I want to just make a note. This was a Stasis done S4.
Yes.
Someone else before you bought it had bought it from Stasis, which means a whole lot of suspension upgrades, engine upgrades, or ECU upgrades.
Yep, and engine, transmission, like I said, suspension.
Yeah, but you humble badged it. You took all the badges off.
I did. That thing. I mean, this is.
And I drove this one as well. And this thing was nuts. The acceleration to the red line, you just think about, I wonder what it's like at the red line, and you're there.
Yes, exactly.
And Audis will not let you bump the red line off they won't let you ride the limiters. As soon as you're there, it shifts for you, which is probably a good idea with this car. How much horsepower does this have?
410.
410. Family car.
Yeah, right. It is ridiculously fast, but yeah, I've had a lot of issues now. So it's again a recurring thing.
Yeah.
The transmission went out. Evidently, these are known for having problems with the double clutch transmission, and I had that problem, and so I've been working on it, and it's come together.
A marvel of technology.
That's right.
But the tolerance is very small.
Exactly.
Very small.
And it's a $5,000 job to fix it. So, fortunately, I've been able to kind of piece it together. It's been a little less, but it's been.
So you've crazy. Just had a history of cars that are very expensive to maintain.
That's right. So what's interesting, if we talk about our recommendations, I think we're going to do that in a future segment, that I'm going to recommend a bunch of cheap European cars with very expensive repair price tags.
Yeah, so consider that your initial investment may be low, but over the life you may end up paying double.
That's exactly right.
But you've got something on a. So you've got the Polestar.
I got the Polestar.
We talked about that before, but you got some. Is it on a container yet?
It's actually sitting at the dock now. I hope it's been offloaded. So I bought last year a 1995 Land Rover Defender MPI. So this is the Land Rover Defender that was made for the Italian Carabinieri, the National Police Force.
Perfect.
And they drove it up in the Italian Alps. So it was a 2-liter gasoline engine, Rover engine, as opposed to the diesel that are in most of the Defenders. So it's kind of unique. Yeah. And I bought it off this guy. in the Netherlands.
Save you a lot of emissions problems here in California.
What I'm hoping. That is what I'm hoping. Exactly. So I bought it off this guy, and it's been sitting at a port for about a year now, trying to get it exported because with COVID, it's hard to get containers and hard to get things on ships.
And someone's pair of socks stuck at the same port.
Exactly.
Who would have thought?
I might find those in the car when I go to pick it up.
At least it's not on a train. They're robbing trains today in LA. So at least the Land Rover's not on a train being dismantled as the train rolls along.
Yeah, exactly. At least that we know of.
That's true. That we know of.
So hopefully I get there in the next couple of days. I don't know. I'm going to go down to LA and trailer that back up. So that's I've never bought a
So when you drive to LA, you taking the X5 with the trailer to trailer it back, or something bigger?
That's a good question. So I've been doing the sort of calculation to figure out how much that like towing setup would be like in terms of weight compared to what the X5 can tow. The X5 can tow 6,000 pounds. That's the sort of limit. But the weight of the Land Rover plus the U-Haul trailer is exactly 6,000 pounds. So I don't know. I think I'm going to try to borrow his truck.
Yeah, it might be a good idea.
Do you have a truck you can loan me?
I have an old 4Runner. I don't know if that would get the job done.
What can that tow?
I don't know what the towing capacity is.
Does it have a hitch?
I think, it does. I should look that up.
All right, look it up. All right.
I've never thought about that.
We'll do our next episode on the road to LA.
That's right, on the road. That'd be a great trip.
Cool.
So transitioning, we wanted to, after we've knifed ourselves about our own car collection history, talk a little bit. Oh, and I just want to point out, Andrew, who's the other part of the Loud Pedal, we're going to have to ask him this question as well about his first car, because I spent a lot of time riding around with him in one of his first cars. I'll let him give the gory details, but I'll just say 79 Volkswagen Scirocco. Oh. I'm just going to leave it there. I'll let him talk about it, but it was a great car. It was also a death trap in so many ways, but we'll talk about that.
My dad had one of those when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it was. I'll have to ask him. But
body style, everything looked great, but this particular one was a death trap on so many ways. Let's just say that the defroster was me hanging out the window with a towel. That was the defrost capability of that car. And had one working windshield, kind of would work windshield wiper, but I don't want to take it away. I'll let him. Yeah, he'll be on one of our episodes, hopefully our next episode, and he can tell us more about it.
But I think maybe just, we do need to move on, but I think the point is our history of cars shows people that we have no idea what we're talking about, right? I mean, none of us have really around any really.
If you got this far, or we could say, well, we've had to combine practicality with fun.
Yeah, that's
and that
right.
was the best we could come up with.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Exactly.
Speaking of that, we wanted to look at a few. We've said it before, like if you're in the car market right now, get out. Don't do it. But if you have to be, if you're looking for a car, so we're going to make some recommendations or give you some ideas. Again, don't listen to us.
No.
But these are
mostly
ideas.
Bad ideas.
Yeah. If you're looking for a practical commuter box car, you're not going to get that advice here. No Hondas, Hyundai, nothing wrong with it. That fulfills a need. That's fine. But we know there's an audience out there that's thinking about maybe for themselves, their children.
Yes.
Their kids are just getting their license. My daughter's going to be getting her permit soon.
Oof.
So even I have to start thinking about this. Something that's fun, that will teach someone or someone that has the joy for driving, wants to drive, wants to have that fun experience, but also practical and relatively cheap. And so we were looking around in the used market to see. We avoided new cars because the new car market is just nuts right now. There's not a lot of inventory. You're gonna get hosed. You're gonna pay well over sticker. Just don't do what we've recently done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
let us be a warning to others. So we're looking at like cars in the 30,000 range.
So I like your first recommendation here, Mark.
So an E46
why'd you decide
M3.
That?
So awesome. You can find now. Just fair warning: a pristine sub 100K mileage one is going to be way over 30K. But you might be able to find, and I've seen some listed, Yeah, that's how crazy the market is these days. Yeah, you're not going to find one in this price. If it's pristine, good advice. But if you're willing to trade off some things, if you know how to work on a car yourself, or you have a good mechanic that you trust, there's some deals to be had there. These cars, mostly manual transmission. Pretty much if they're maintained well, even high mileage, they're tanks, and you're gonna have to do stuff like water pumps, that sort of thing.
That's right.
I forgot if they have a timing chain or belt, but that's probably something you'll probably have to chains. So that's actually, you may not have to do that. So that's one. If you can find one, highly recommend that. Also depends on who I wouldn't buy it. It depends on if you're buying it for your kid, you might want to rethink that, because the insurance is going to kill you.
Yeah, I think they make over 300 horsepower. I mean, they're kind of like comparable to that S4 that I got. I mean, they're
amazing car. One of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
So if you could find one at a good price, you can find them in the 30K range. Just have some expectations about what you're getting into. If you're not comfortable with, fixing stuff yourself or having a good mechanic on standby, find something else. But if you want to have fun, you're willing to accept some of this. You can find some great deals out there.
I like that recommendation. I think that's
I like the next one too.
And they may go up in value also. That's the other thing.
That's true.
As those cars get older. I mean, the E30 is the one from the 80s. The E30 M3. I mean, those are worth like, $50,000, $60,000. I mean, I looked recently, but they've got.
Yeah, if you can find one that has a clean title, like no serious damage on it, I mean, you'll be in good shape over time. I guess the next one. Now, this is a very I don't want to say niche. They're very popular, but there's a culture around Subaru.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't even
WRX
know.
STI.
Yeah, I know the WRX, but what is the STI?
So the STI, I actually don't know what it stands for, but it's the road equivalent of their rally car. Cool. So it's the top of the line sport suspension, power, transmit, all the like fun stuff.
And for only
the STI,
$28,000.
Yeah, that's $28,000,
and that's a reliable car. Like that, you're not going to have the same problems.
Manual transmission. That's the thing about Subarus. Great manual transmissions. Their automatic transmissions are kind of garbage. I'll just say that. So yeah, if you can find one of those, that'd be great. I'm looking at the next one. Did I write Audi TTS?
That was you.
Was that me?
That was you.
I must have seen one. That's just not. We're going to take that off the list. Forget I said that.
Don't buy that.
Don't buy that. It's a 2-seater. I don't know what I was doing when I said that. Mercedes C-Class. You know what? Let's skip over that because we're going to talk about that a little bit later. We talk about car subscriptions.
Yes.
Because we got some information about that.
Definitely.
It's going to blow your mind. Now, this is a favorite one. Now, this is something.
This is a cool recommendation.
I found on Auto Trader here in Northern California, a 1988 Bentley Mulsanne, 28,000 miles for $24,000.
That is awesome.
And it was in fairly decent shape. And I'm like, just think about having a practical, fun car in a classic Bentley, in an 80s Bentley. And it's probably stuff, again, that there's several shops here in California, here in Sacramento, definitely in San Francisco, that specialize in British cars. So you'll have a place to take it to get it worked on.
Yep. I mean, it's $24,000. The service is probably $4,000.
That's true. That's true. So your entry price is low.
That's right. It's got a 6.75 liter engine. What did you get? Like 4 miles to the gallon or something? Probably.
I mean, when you buy a Bentley, I don't think gas prices are your number one concern.
It is cool though.
But remember, you're paying $24,000. But you're right. That maintenance is like a membership fee that you get to keep paying over time. You're in the club.
Exactly.
Now, this next one, I think people could argue about, but I've seen, if you find one in good shape, they're fun cars. The good thing about this next one is the used one is just as unreliable as a brand new one.
I'm shaking my head about this one, Mark. This is...
So I put down a Fiat 500 Abarth.
Oh my God.
I found one for 54,000 miles for $12,000.
Yeah, because that's overpriced. What is the Abarth?
That's their sporty version.
So it's got like 4 extra horsepower over the 95.
It makes a nice noise though, like a nice little. It's one of those cars that like 30 miles an hour sounds like it's going 70.
That's exactly right. I had a friend that had one of those, and it was the worst car I've ever been in.
I mean, they're terrible, but the good thing is, like, you could save a lot of money by buying terrible used because it's going to be just as terrible when it was new.
I would buy the electric version because they have a Fiat 500e that drives like 40 miles on a charge, but like at least it's electric.
And in cold weather, it gets 20 miles on a charge.
Exactly.
But you're right.
They took like 4 normal car batteries, like strung them together, probably, and they're like, off you go.
Exactly. So, the Fiat 500e is actually also a fun car if you could find one. The problem with though in Sacramento, got to warn anybody, if you got a Fiat, you're gonna have a hard time finding service for one. Yeah. Especially the E version. They basically forget about it. There's no independent shop that's gonna work on the E version of that. So maybe we should, probably a bad choice. Don't listen to us on that one. Now, did you put this next one?
I got this next one. So this is the 2015 BMW i3, 42,000 miles for $20,000.
Okay. How much battery life is left in this car?
Yeah, exactly. Same as the Fiat, probably. I have a soft spot for these. My parents have one. I think it's 2016. I love it. I think it's a really cool car for around town. I mean, it's got its limitations, like you said. They don't drive that far. You know, I think even like new, they drive 70 miles or 80 miles or something. You can get the one with the range extender, and so you can go a little bit farther. I put this on because if you're looking for something to go around town in, and you want something that might be a classic one day, and I don't know, maybe I'm off the mark on it being a classic, but they've stopped making them. And it's a cool car. It's bizarre looking, but inside they're like $55,000 new, and the inside was really is decent. I don't know. I just kind of like it. But what I would really recommend is the 2005 or 2006 Lexus LX 470 with 170,000 miles on it for $21,000. The Land Cruiser is absolutely unaffordable. They're insane. So I'm recommending that you go for the Lexus version, which looks damn near the same. Mm-hmm. It's got a little bit better tech, but also a little bit less reliability because the Land Cruiser is just built to be, indestructible. So you're probably going to pay a little bit more in service. And if you need to invade a small country, you can probably fit half an army in the back of that LX 470. They're perfect. 7-seaters, that's a great car.
That is, that is a great Toyota.
Yeah. Right?
Did anybody pick up on that? Yeah. No, that's actually one of my neighbors down the street has one that's lifted. And it looks pretty cool for a lifted Lexus, and they have off-road credentials.
I know
they have it
totally.
And that, I mean, underneath the Lexus brand and the luxury and all that nonsense is the bones and the soul of an off-road Toyota.
The Land Cruiser.
I think you probably at 170,000 miles, you probably have another 200 to go.
Well, exactly. I was just going to make that point. Like, okay, 170,000 seems like a lot, but for these cars, and they hold their value. They do hold their value. So
yeah, and I would just recommend for any of these, especially this next one. Which did you put this or did I put this?
No, this is mine.
Okay, this is yours.
This is the 2011 Porsche Cayenne Turbo with 98,000 miles,
just under 100.
Yeah, exactly, for only $28,000. This was $115,000.
That's balling on a budget, right there. That is balling on a budget. I gotta look at it. You have photos of this. I gotta see what this is pretty. Okay, so they didn't put god awful looking rims. It's the stock rims.
It's still understated.
It looks in really good condition.
I know, right?
That is really good. No, they got a 3-end. It's wrapped on the front end. Wow, it's got.
I put thought into this, Mark.
This is a good one.
I just phoned this in.
I like this one, but I would recommend any of these recommendations that we're making. Please, please, please have an independent mechanic do an inspection before you buy any of these cars.
Or us. They can bring it to us.
You can bring it to us. And we will mock you on the podcast. We'll even do a live podcast.
Yes.
We will mock your automobile choice to you and call out all the problems or the things that we think are great. But yeah, have a mechanic look at it. And if there's anybody selling you a car that's like hesitant about that, don't buy it. They're trying to hide something. Any good, decent seller is going to say, absolutely, we can have it inspected. And we'll tell you ahead of time and should tell you the things they know about. So we got this one's a good one. You found, you know what? We discovered in further research this 2019 GTI with 29,000 miles for $23,000 had a salvage title.
Wah, wah.
Oh, we just
that was really cool. It's black on black.
Nice,
really nice looking car. But yeah, don't buy a salvage title.
So there's a few. So we're moving to the 40,000 range, but you know what? Let's save the $40,000 range for the next episode because I want to jump to something that I found absolutely absurd. We've briefly brought up before the car subscription model. It's the future of car ownership. We're going to subscribe to cars. Cars are going to be like cell phones. We just pay monthly and then we throw them away. They end up in the ocean like the rest of our electronics. Because this idea that young people, millennials, whoever they are, they don't want to own things. They don't want to own cars. I don't know. There's some market research says maybe that's true, but we've done some research on car subscriptions, and we found some ridiculous stuff.
It's shocking.
And,
it's really shocking.
Wanted to start with some. This is most of the car subscription models are manufacturers offering these through their dealers. But the first one I found is from a company called Free to Move. After we thrash you, feel free to become a sponsor. Their big marketing ploy on their website, enjoy the flexibility of a subscription. So what can you get? So they are in LA, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose. Now, just a warning here, only the Mercedes they have in their fleet can only be had in LA. But they have a Mercedes, Jeep Wrangler Sport, Jeep Compass, Jeep Renegade. What a group of choices.
I can't get over. I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact that the name is Free to Move. It sounds like
Move.
Sounds like an anti-constipation medicine or something. You know, I think it's so.
Are you
stupid.
getting enough fiber?
Exactly.
Buy Free to Move.
Exactly. Oh, so dumb. But yeah, these offerings are terrible.
Now this includes insurance and maintenance,
which there would be no maintenance on a new car. I mean, come on, let's be real. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or at least nothing is not covered under warranty.
Yeah, so this is weird. So we did a little bit of research. So here's an example of what they're offering for their Free to Move flexibility of a subscription. You can get a Mercedes C-Class. Doesn't describe what options it has. I'm going to guess it's a base.
Base, for
$849 a month.
And how much if I was to lease that?
If you went to a Mercedes dealer with $4,500 down, which I wouldn't recommend you put that, you could get it for $449.
So even if you did less of a down payment, there's no way you're getting near that $849. And then the insurance, I mean, I don't know what kind of insurance coverage they got on this, but you could probably get a reasonable insurance policy
and so if you don't want to own anything, leasing's still an option. This is for Mercedes 3-year lease, $449 a month. Even if you want to buy the car, you're probably in the $700 range if you want to buy it. But that's not even the most laughable. The next one, we stopped researching after the next one because this was totally absurd. Matt, do you want to describe this disaster?
This is the Jeep Wrangler Sport. This is insane. They will gladly take $750 from you per month to lease this. You can. Oh, sorry, to subscribe to this. My apologies.
That's right. Subscribe.
Yeah, right. To lease this from Jeep, it cost you $250 with $3,000 down. Like there's a $500 delta there between the subscription model and the lease.
But you know what? If you lease it, you can enjoy the flexibility of a subscription.
That's right. And the selling point is that you can swap it 2 times a month. And you can only have it for up to 6 months. But it doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't get why you would swap from a Mercedes. I could get if you have a Mercedes and then I want a Jeep because I'm going to be doing some road trips, some off-road stuff. But to swap between a Wrangler Sport, a Compass, and a Renegade.
Yeah, exactly.
And the cost difference, like the Jeep Renegade, $729 a month. I mean, I think they give those away for free.
Yeah, right.
If you go to the Jeep dealership. This is just, I would love to see the customer base or who has fallen.
That's what I was thinking too. Like if you're listening to this and you subscribe, reach out to us because we want to know what you are.
And actually, if you
and we'll do an IQ test on them.
Yes. And if you do any car subscription, let us know. We'd love to talk to you, like whether it's this or some other subscription service, like what made you choose that? How is it working for you? How do you like it? Because there are some, there's some here for manufacturers that are kind of ridiculous, but not as bad as that one. There's big one. There's Audi Select has one there in Dallas, Fort Worth only. Lexus has one only in Bellevue, Washington, San Jose. I didn't get all the model information, but theirs was for Lexus, $995 a month. 15,000 miles a year. I got to tell you, those are right on par with kind of lease prices.
That's kind of what I was thinking
for their high-end Lexus.
That's right.
So,
that's right. So the detail. It's going to be the details of what you're getting for that. Are you getting the base model versus some some upgrades?
Exactly. If you have ADHD and you need to swap out cars that frequently, I guess it's worth it. But I think everybody should understand you're paying over at or above lease prices to do this subscription stuff. Porsche Drive, which is in San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, they have their subscription is a little bit different. They have a 1 to 3 month subscription. It's between $1,500, $2,600 per month for 911, Boxster, Cayenne, Cayman, Macan,
the
Panamera and Taycan. Those are, I think, the base models. And there's another level. If you go up to the more advanced models, there's another price. And I'm hearing also Porsche is doing this new program. You see it on their website, but they're doing these long-term loaner options to get customers to pick out cars. And some of those involve weekends, a full month with the car.
But to me, that with a car like that, that's kind of smart. Because like you tease somebody in, and once you drive that car, you're going to be like, I want to buy this.
Yeah, once you spend a weekend in one of these, you're not going back.
No, exactly. You're not going back to your Jeep Renegade.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll say, so there's another one called Care by Volvo. It's everywhere except California and a few other states, which is too bad in a way. It really looks like a traditional lease program, but you can switch between the XC40, S60, XC90, XC60. And the price range is $600 to $875 per month, 15,000 miles a year. That's a lease payment for a Volvo. Yeah. This one, and it includes your insurance, whatever maintenance you would need on a new car.
I wonder what the frequency is, though, of like swapping those out. Because I sort of feel like I don't know. I wouldn't think there's not that many times when I'm like, oh, I wish I had a 7-seater instead of the 5-seater. Okay, periodically, sure, but like, am I going to really go through the trouble of like taking it to the dealership? And I'm sure there's paperwork that's associated with it. Even if you're a subscriber, you probably have to, you have to sign stuff. It takes time. It's I would imagine it's a hassle. I don't know.
I don't know. But I also think like the what I would think the stereotypical Volvo leasee or buyer purchaser is someone who's very practical, has researched what they want. They know that they're not going in to get an XC40 and then like, oh, I really wish I got the XC90. That's what I really need.
Right, exactly.
And that won't let me swap for that. Again, we don't know the success of these, but I will say about 4 years ago, the subscription model was all the rage, and like it was being talked about in the automotive publications and the trade magazines amongst the dealers and manufacturers and their lobbying groups. And it was like, oh, that's the future. I think the future of car selling is the dealership model is going to change significantly. I don't know if it's subscriptions. No. It seems like the hype's kind of died down a little bit. But
if you could bring the price points down, perhaps, or make it a better value proposition than a lease. Yeah. But I think at the prices that we're seeing, with the exception, as you say, of the Volvo.
Yeah. But last but not least, I just wanted to point out, if you've been missing the glamour of having a lineup of rental cars at your disposal, base model rental cars such as Nissan Altimas, Chevy Impalas, Toyota Camrys, or even the Ford EcoSport, Nissan Rogue, Toyota RAV4, Ford Explorer, or Nissan Pathfinder.
Oh, yeah.
Enterprise in 3 states has a program. Subscribe with Enterprise, $14.99 a month. That's not $14.99 a month as it should be. It's $1,499 a month. You can drive some of the finest rental cars that Enterprise has to offer.
I'm speechless. I am speechless.
That
is insane.
I can't.
That's
add
almost
much
as
more to that.
stupid as our friend who bought a Volkswagen from Enterprise. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's a worse financial decision than this. But it's a close.
And it
this is a close second.
damage on it.
That's right.
And we encouraged him to get it inspected. He did not do that.
We even offered to take a look at it because he couldn't find somebody to look at it or whatever the story was.
That's right.
He bought a rental car. I hope you're listening. You know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. You know who you are. We may have you on the show one day to talk
that's what
about
I was thinking too. That's what I was
you
thinking
should be
too.
publicly shamed for that decision.
The worst car purchase history. The worst car purchase in history.
So that we enough trashing on cars we've had and car subscriptions and what we can buy. We're moving on here. So just this past weekend, the start of the IMSA sports car season,
which you pitched me on watching.
Pitched you in the last episode. Yeah. The 24 Hours of Daytona finished over the weekend. Great race. What'd you think?
It was a great tip. It was really a great tip, Mark. I was into it. There was sort of 2 weekends. There was they called it the Roar before the 24.
Yeah.
And that was really entertaining. It's kind of like a warm up for what kind of cars we'd be seeing last weekend. And then it was, like you said, the full 24 hours at Daytona. And I think what you had highlighted last time we talked, and was true, is that there's like always action on track because you've got five classes of cars that are racing. And it's really interesting to watch how like the really fast prototypes navigate going around the GT cars and stuff that are going significantly less fast. And you got the different battles within the different classes. I mean, it's a little bit hard to keep track of as a newcomer to watching it. I mean, there's so much going on and there's so many different cars and it's kind of harder to sort of see who's leading what, but really exciting. And I definitely recommend it. And I'm definitely going to watch more.
Excellent. Yeah. They have a great, their season, they'll come to Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey, I think in September, October, I think is when they're planned. They're usually a support race for the Long Beach Grand Prix, which is part of the IndyCar series. They also have a race coming up, the 12 Hours of Sebring, which is a well-known North American sports car race. A lot of history to that. So, yeah, and I think the thing that stands out about sports car racing, as it's been really for a long time, and it was showed in this particular race, unlike Formula One, is the officials let them race.
Yes. Yeah. That was very clear.
Almost at points to where you're like, I don't know if you should be doing that. But they let them, for example, in the closing, about 30 minutes to go, 2 Porsche factory drivers, Matteo Geminet, I may be mispronouncing that, and Lawrence Van Thor, in 2 different teams. They're driving for 2 different teams. 30 minutes to go, they're first and second. So if you don't know, Porsche factory drivers paid by Porsche to drive for private Porsche teams. They supply them Porsche parts and all sorts of stuff and technical support. But the drivers are paid, hey, you're going to go race in this car and you're going to get the best result possible for Porsche. And these guys putted everything out there.
You could see it.
And so the last 5 laps of a 24-hour race, they went at each other. It was unbelievable.
Like, a bumper to bumper, side to side. And what was interesting is, with the Formula One cars, like, the arrow means we're changing formulas, but like the past, whatever it is, how many years, 6, 7 years, whatever, the arrow doesn't allow for overtaking,
Yeah.
and for
and
passing
if you touch,
somebody. And if you touch,
it's game over.
That's right. And this is just completely different.
Yeah.
They're able to hang with each other and
they're pushing each other through the corners, like trying to bump around and find some space, and it was just it's an unbelievable battle. If you go, and I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, going to the IMSA YouTube channel. They have highlights of this battle, but they also have they've condensed the 24-hour race into a 40-minute highlight clip. which really gives you everything you need to see and highlights this battle. Man, it was so good. Highly recommend. I just was watching thinking, how bad would people lose? You know, the Formula One audience, I think, recently has become a little too sensitive to actual what racing looks like.
Totally.
And I think they would have lost it had they seen this. But this is not new for IMSA. They have been doing. They have been letting teams race for a long time. I mean, you've got to really go over the line of sportsmanship for them to issue a penalty, because they know fans want to see people race and the drivers expect it. And the funny thing, these two drivers that were trying to punt each other off track to get ahead hugged each other at the end of the race.
Right.
And had
it's just
this,
expected. That's part of it.
And they had this respect. Like, hey, we put it all out there. You got me this time, but maybe the next track I'll get you.
Yeah. No, it was really cool to see that different, just what you said, the different style of racing and how, they'd have all four tires off the track, in the grass and stuff, and the cars keep going, and they're able to fight back. And it's just, it almost feels like the F1 cars are too precious. It's like they run on such like fine margins, if there's like tiny little bit of contact, or if one wheel goes off,
it raises an issue that some people have said, and I go to this too, that Formula One is not about racing. It's a technological battle.
Yeah.
And that the racing is kind of secondary to that technological battle.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, that could definitely be argued. I'm sure a lot of people criticize that, but so much investment goes into the technology side of Formula One that's really where the battles are at. The on-track racing is just kind of an outgrowth of the technology.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I would definitely recommend, like you said, that 45-minute recap was great. And I mean, I'm still partial to Formula One, but this was a great, nice. great.
Well, next
great
I'm going to pitch you on another series coming up soon. I'll pitch you on IndyCar. Get you to watch an IndyCar race. Are you trying? Not there yet.
We'll see. That's a lot of oval racing. And I've already expressed my displeasure with left turns.
I know, but I'll give you. So the majority of 2/3 of their calendar are non-ovals.
Okay.
I don't watch the ovals either. Okay. I only watch the street races. But the street races, I mean, they have so many different winners throughout the season that for the last 3 to 4 seasons, the winner was determined. The championship winner was determined at the final race of the season. But
was it also determined by the race director?
No, they actually just let things happen. That wasn't determined by the race director in that case. But I'll make that pitch on another episode.
Let's do it.
So I think we're getting down to the end here. You want to move to the off ramp?
Let's do the off ramp. So I got something for you, Mark.
All right.
There's been widespread speculation in the media that Lewis Hamilton will not be returning to the 2022 Formula One season.
Taking up that career in fashion designing?
Yeah, exactly. exactly. This is preposterous. I mean, I think he's probably milking it for all it is worth, and he's got his feelings hurt because it's maybe somewhat fairly, that the final race was
nothing says top tier world champion like losing once and walking away.
Yeah, exactly. But he's got a bone to pick with Michael Massey, who I alluded to earlier, and Mercedes is doing what they're doing, trying to stand up.
Poor little Mercedes.
Yeah, right. But come on. I mean, he's tied with Schumacher for the most F1 championships.
7 titles. If he doesn't, good for him. I don't want him to break that record. My personal feeling doesn't deserve to break Michael Schumacher's record. I'm sad that he even tied the record, but it is what it is. I agree. He's coming back. He's coming back. This is all drama.
That's right.
This is to feed, his fans. I'm sure it keep them guessing and in constant anticipation, so he can do some weird social media post.
Maybe it's leverage for on the FIA. He's using this to try to make some changes.
Because the conclusion of their investigation's coming up in a few weeks. I think by March they're supposed to. So I think, and there's been a lot of speculation speculation that Michael Massey's going to get fired. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think he's leaving. But he's certainly milking it for everything it's worth.
Everything.
It's great.
He's gone quiet on social media.
Yeah,
those are the reports. So.
That means he's damn near suicidal. Hey, so for my off ramp is going to be, so last episode we talked about a Tesla recall. Several 100,000 cars being recalled for various, I think the frunk would randomly fly up. That was one issue. There was a camera issue. Well, now the newest one, they're being ordered to recall, I think it was a little over 50,000 cars because their top tier self-driving mode, the software upgrade they recently provided, and I'm using self-driving mode very loosely, according to experts that work on self-driving, their autonomous mode is not a full self-driving mode.
Okay.
The software is programmed to enable someone to do what I would describe as a California roll. If no one knows what that is, when you roll through a stop sign.
Yep.
And they're finding that the software is allowing people to do a California roll and then stop in the middle of the intersection. And so while no one has been hurt yet, they've decided to get ahead of this.
A little dangerous.
A little dangerous.
Oh, my God.
So that's great. Their last software upgrade has instituted something that, we all kind of joke about, the California roll, but would allow someone to roll into the middle of the street. So they're doing a recall on that particular software. And on that note, I think we've said all we can say this time.
I'm speechless. I hate Tesla. I hate Tesla. I cannot. I hate Elon Musk.
It's a good club to be in.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at electric cars, I was considering buying one, and now I'm in retrospect. I'm like, what was I even thinking? They're terrible.
Yeah. Well, a shout out to a friend of mine recently sent me and you'll know who you are when you hear this. He sent a video on a chat group I'm on about Elon Musk making promises about full self-driving technology and other promises he's made in every interview he's in throughout the last decade. Oh, within a year.
Yeah.
Within a year.
They wanted to remove the steering wheel from the Model Y or something. How stupid can you be? I mean, I don't disagree that in the future, it's likely that we will have full self-driving autonomous vehicles, but you're going to need infrastructure upgrades on the roads. I would imagine sensors will help make these things safer.
There's going to be a lot of stuff. Well, my cat was just meowing at us, so I think she's saying this is over. Enough of this.
Time to feed me
already. Well, hey, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We will see you soon, and that's it.
And they may yet have one more lap, these two. They have not yet seen the white flag.
I was wondering whether there were some team orders here. The number 2 car is not going for the championship, the overall championship, certainly this season. The number 9 car most emphatically is, but judging by the way they were banging each other down there, no, perhaps not.
They've both got a number 2 illuminated on their number panels at the moment, so they were both second across the line. I've no clue how that happened. The leader is not that far behind them, and they're off the track. Another Mod chicane. They're both off the track, right in front of the leader. Elio Castro Neves has to go through, and there goes the